Congressman, you and I both watched that press conference with the chairman and the defense secretary. There was not one question about Russia.
Yeah, that was startling. I think our media showed just how incompetent they are today, Leland. I mean, here you have the day after Russia unveils an F-35 competitor and puts in English the word checkmate on the side of it. The media is talking to the Secretary of Defense of the United States, and they ask not a single question about Russia. Also this week, as you mentioned, the hypersonic missiles, which are nuclear capable. Russia said they were also nuclear capable. And again, they get no question from our ridiculous media. It's embarrassing. The cyber attacks from Russia, nothing about that either.
What was stunning to me also, though, is that the secretary and the chairman didn't take the opportunity up there to even talk about Russia and address it on their own. Is the U.S. military complacent? For 30 years, we were sort of second to none in terms of military superiority. Doesn't seem that way anymore.
Well, clearly overmatch is a concern now. I mean, when I went to war back in 2003, some general officer and administration years prior to that had made the overmatch. It wasn't even a question. No one could compete with us. Nowadays, Russia and China are advancing their militaries at a breakneck pace. You look at China's hypersonics, and China has the largest missile force in the world. They now have a larger Navy than the United States. Yes, we should be talking about that, and the media should be asking those questions.
Well, the only question that came on China was not from a U.S. publication. It was from a Japanese publication. Obviously, they have reasons to be a little bit more concerned, and with China on the very top of their mind. I know you had dinner last night with the ambassador from Taiwan. They certainly have China on their mind. How worried should the American people be about this?
We absolutely need to be concerned. If you take a look at what China's been doing with Taiwan, over the last month, their incursions into Taiwanese airspace with military aircraft has been the highest that it's ever been in history. 28 times. In this calendar year, 100 times they've intruded into Taiwan's airspace. So from a military standpoint, you got this bullying. And then on an economic standpoint, they actually stopped buying pineapple from Taiwan. 90% of Taiwan's pineapple is sold to China. So it devastates their economy, those kinds of bullying actions. And they made up some story about critters in Taiwan's pineapple supply, prompting Mike Pompeo to make a tweet, of course, about eating pineapple from Taiwan. But
I like pineapple.
Whether it's economic, whether it's political, whether it's military, they're bullying Taiwan, and we have to take this seriously.
Taking it seriously is the real question. You talked about China's Navy, and just a couple of weeks ago, I'm reading the headline from the Daily Mail. This is back July 13th. The United States Navy is, quote, in disarray and focusing more on diversity than war fighting. We also heard the questions to the general today about whether it was more important to be woke and about critical race theory. Is the U.S. military ready, or are we complacent based on what you saw today?
You know, I would say that we are ready just because of my contacts within the ranks of the military, but that report on the Navy was very damning. A 3-star lieutenant general from the Marine Corps and an admiral assessed that, and they basically said there's more diversity training than there is on how to pilot a ship. That is very concerning, and we have to, you know, after the Navy's incidents a few years ago, this is a huge concern, and it's unfortunate that that report you know, had the findings that it did. We have got to, you know, my push on critical race theory is to stop it. I've got bills here in Congress preventing them from teaching it at the military academies. Critical race theory espouses that the way to fix past discrimination is to do more discrimination, which actually happens to be against the law in the United States. Yeah. So they're advocating for our military people to break the law. I mean, it's insane.
Real quick, though, in terms of where these two issues intersect, how are we to believe that the U.S. military does have its eye on the ball when you hear press conferences like you do today? We don't see the kind of rollouts of U.S. weapon systems and the kind of propaganda. Is Are we just supposed to believe, as Teddy Roosevelt would say, the U.S. military is speaking quietly and carrying a big stick? Because our carrier battle groups certainly aren't around the 7 seas the way they used to be.
Yeah, I'll compliment Millie on his answer to the China question. You know, his ambiguity was appropriate. It's not for him to get up there and tell the Japanese or the Chinese or whomever's asking the question exactly how many ships we have where. That's appropriate. I will tell you that our drill downs from the Armed Services Committee, and I'm on the Armed Services Committee, I'm actually on the Readiness Subcommittee, the answers that we're getting are very good answers. Our military is as ready today. I'm more worried about tomorrow. You know, Biden is cutting our defense budget $4 billion real dollars this year while increasing 16% all the rest of the government spending. You can't sustain what we've got today if you continue to cut the Defense Department's budget.
There was just a headline right now from the Sun in the UK. U.S. risk losing drone superpower and drone superiority. Congressman Mark Green, Republican from Tennessee. Appreciate it. Always good to see you, sir.
Thanks, Leland.